What is going on, everybody? The wait is over. We have finally made it. We survived to week 1 of the NFL season. Cannot freaking wait for these games to get started, but it is time to put down my picks for week 1 here. So how this works is the first NFL week of each month is going to be here on YouTube, free. And then every week after that until the new month is going to be over on my Patreon for the star tier patrons. So if you enjoy my picks, if you want to make some money, we've had a lot of success with these picks, hoping to keep it rolling into next season. That is going to be available on patreon.com/ThatFranchiseGuy with the star tier. So let's get into the picks here. We've got 5 plays this week. It was a tough week to predict. I actually don't have any upset bets this week. I think Vegas was actually kind of nifty with some of these spreads and these lines. But let's get started with tonight's Thursday night game. And this line has actually continued to go up. I have it at 8.5 from when I created the graphic. It actually climbed to 9 by the time I finished the graphic, and it went from 8 to 8.5 during the creation of this thing. So people are hammering Tampa Bay, which means it is expected to be a blowout tonight with 9 points. That's a big spread, especially against a team like Dallas that does have a super explosive offense. And for that reason, I don't feel comfortable betting at that 9-point mark. You know, I got them at 7. I think it's 7.5. You're in pretty good shape. But more than one score, which 9 points now is, that's getting a little bit rich. I still would lean Tampa Bay on that. I think that offensively they will have almost no issues with that Dallas defense, and I think defensively they'll do a pretty good job. But at 9 points, I'm really worried about a backdoor cover there where Dallas is, kind of getting crushed, but fourth quarter, Tampa Bay lays off the gas, and Dallas comes in, maybe comes in and scores a touchdown last minute. So I'm predicting 28-20. I don't think it's going to be a particularly close game, but 9 points is just a little bit rich for my money against a really explosive offense like Dallas, even without Zach Martin. So 28-20, Tampa Bay wins. Next, we have Philly at Atlanta. This was a super difficult team to predict. With kind of a crazy offseason, some of these games I'm just backing off a little bit. But in this case, I'm actually going to take Philadelphia. And one of the big questions this offseason was, can this team just get to week 1 healthy for Philadelphia? Because that seemed like an impossible task for them. And at this point in time, they have a healthy offensive line and a healthy defensive line. And that mismatch against Atlanta is massive. Now, Atlanta's got a much better quarterback in this game. They do have the home opener effect. But Atlanta also a team with a new coach and now no Julio Jones. Just a ton of variables in this game. Not one I'm really comfortable putting my money on, but I do actually like the Eagles. I think they're a team that just has better line play in general, and I think they're going to fluster Matt Ryan. I think the Eagles defense actually looks pretty good, and I think offensively they'll be able to run the ball on that Atlanta front, and Jalen Hurts is also still a quarterback that I don't have a lot of long-term confidence in, but is still kind of unpredictable, and we don't have a lot of film on what he's going to do, and the Nick Sirianni offense as well. We don't know what it's going to look like. So maybe kind of a fast start for the Eagles here, coming out getting a surprising upset, but not going to put the bet upset down on there. This is a coin toss game for me. The Jets at Carolina, same kind of deal where just a ton of moving parts, not a game I'm comfortable, especially advising people to put their money on. So I am going to take the Jets actually. And this is a bet on Zach Wilson here, really. But this could go either way. Carolina with Sam Darnold, we don't really know what that offense is going to look like. I do worry about the Panthers' offensive line in this game. Even without Carl Lawson, I do think Quinnen Williams and John Franklin Myers, that's still a very good D-line. And I just think the Jets, with the better quarterback in this game with Zach Wilson and the better line play on both sides of the ball, I think pull through a just weird, fun game to watch. This is going to be a fun one, the Sam Darnold Bowl with the revenge game scenario there. Another tough game to pick here, Chargers at Washington. Vegas also doesn't know what to do with this one, as it is a pick'em game. I'm going to go with the team that has a little bit more experience and is maybe a little bit more ready to go here with Washington. But my goodness, I do not feel good about that. Obviously, you have the better quarterback for the Chargers. This game is going to be a game that I think is much more fun to watch than it is to bet on. Rashawn Slater going to be put to the test back against Chase Young, Big Ten, two young players going back at it. That'll be a fun matchup to watch. Fitzpatrick in his first game for Washington. This is going to be a really sweet game. Not necessarily a great game to bet on. I don't know which side of the ball this is going to line on. It's a pick 'em game for a reason. I do think the under is a smart play. I think that in Justin Herbert's first game against a hostile defense with a hostile crowd, I think he could have a little bit of a slow start here in the new offense. Against maybe the best defense in the NFL. So 17-16, Washington. And I like the under in this game, under 44.5, but no bets to this point. We are finally going to have a bet now, however, with San Francisco at Detroit. 7.5 seems pretty small for this spread when I look at both sides of the ball here. San Francisco, an immensely better offense. I think people are so soured on Jimmy Garoppolo. He can still come out and blow out a team like Detroit. Absolutely. I also think Detroit, just defensively, I just don't trust them at this point. They have so much to prove and a lack of talent on that side of the ball. So I just think San Francisco kind of rolls here. They also are a team that's very familiar with Jared Goff, having played against him for the last 3 or 4 years. So I don't think Detroit really slows down San Francisco, and you wish this was 7 and not 7.5, but I will say for the first time here we have a pick lit up in green there. So those are going to be my quote-unquote my plays. So everything that's in green is something that I am actually betting on myself and something I would advise you guys to bet on. Gamble responsibly, by the way. So then we have Pittsburgh at Buffalo. This is going to be a fun one. 6.5 points. That's a lot of points for a week 1 game between two playoff teams. I think there's good matchups both ways here. I think Buffalo, as far as their explosiveness against Pittsburgh's corners, is an issue. But I also think Pittsburgh's pass rush can get after that Buffalo offensive line and force some mistakes out of Josh Allen. Inversely, I think Buffalo's pass rush is an issue, but so is Pittsburgh's offensive line. So that's really what this game is going to come down to as far as if Buffalo can cover the spread, I think, is if Buffalo's defense can slow down Pittsburgh. I'm going to go 27-21 Buffalo. I definitely would lean Buffalo on the spread for this one. But just a few points too rich for me to bet on. Seattle at Indianapolis. This is another kind of weird game. Indianapolis, a lot of moving pieces there. What does Carson Wentz look like? That's the big question. And I like Carson Wentz. It's enough for me to say I'm not quite going to bet on Seattle, who they seem to make every game close and interesting. But I also am smart enough to say Carson Wentz could just not be good for the Colts. So for that reason, I'm not going to bet on this game. I do like just getting Russell Wilson in this game. Really excited to see what the scheme looks like for Seattle. I think Seattle wins 27-20, but not a game I'm betting. Tough road game, even with some of the injuries that have, I guess, healed in Indianapolis. But what version of Quentin Nelson and Carson Wentz do we get? Another question mark. Guys that are seemingly rushing back a little bit from those injuries. Minnesota at Cincinnati. I'm going to have another, I guess, upset pick here, just not an upset bet. This is a bet on Joe Burrow. This is a bet that some of the negative narratives that have come out of Cincinnati are a little bit overrated with guys like Jamar Chase in the offensive line and some of Joe Burrow's struggles. I still love Joe Burrow. I look at the Vikings, and as long as they can double Danielle Hunter, I don't think the Vikings have an interior pass rush that can really just dominate that terrible Bengals interior offensive line, which is really how you attack that team. So I don't think the Vikings have the interior rushers to do that. And I just think the Bengals are going to be able to move the ball. I think the Vikings defense is very good, but Burrow can handle it. So I'm going to take the Bengals in their home opener, 24-20. Very little confidence in that, but I'm going to go with my gut on that one. And say a little bit of a disappointing start for the Vikings there. Jacksonville at Houston. This spread surprised me. Houston is just trading away everybody. They got rid of Roby. They got rid of Shaq Lawson. They're cleaning house. They are seemingly want to go 0-17 this year. Yes, Jacksonville's a brand new team. But they have too many expectations and too much talent to not slaughter a team like Houston. So we're going to go 30-13. This is actually one of my favorite bets. I can't believe the spread is at -3 right now. I would have expected 6 or 7 because I just feel like Houston's a team that should be, touchdown underdog against everybody. And it's not like the fans are going to show up and have like this crazy home field advantage either. Arizona at Tennessee. I'm going to take the Titans here. This is a game that's going to be way more fun to watch than to gamble on. I don't like betting against Kyler Murray, especially heading into this year where they have all those expectations. I think they expect to win this game and will be very disappointed if they don't. Whereas Tennessee, also a team with playoff expectations. I'm leaning towards Tennessee because I think the receivers are going to be a huge issue for Arizona's corners. And I think that the line play, at least as far as the run game for Tennessee against an Arizona run defense that leaves a lot to be desired, and having to tackle Derrick Henry, going to be a tall order for Simmons, and a tough first week for Zaven Collins there. Those guys have the size to do it. This is going to be a really good game, and I would leave this closer to a pick'em game as far as what the spread should be, in my opinion, but I will pick the Titans in the opener. Miami at New England. This disappointed me that New England was favored in this game because I thought I was kind of alone in saying that New England is actually a decent bit better than the Dolphins, and here you got to get 3 points if you want to bet on New England. And while I think New England wins this game, do I think they win by more than 3 in what I think is an ugly defensive battle? I think Tua looks terrible and atrocious in this game. But I don't know if New England's offense is going to look all that much better against a really good Dolphins defense. So I'm going to go 16-14 Patriots. I do like the under in this game at 43.5. But let's move on to Denver at the New York Giants. Just a lot more roster talent there with Denver, and the fact that Vegas has so much confidence in Denver as a 3-point road favorite here against the Giants. I do think they fluster Daniel Jones and pull through a close win. I'm not expecting a blowout. I think this game is close, and I would say this could go either way, but I will take the more talented team in the Denver Broncos. Excited to see that pass rush and what they're going to look like. A very kind opener for them going against the Giants offensive line. Cleveland at Kansas City. This is going to be another bet, another play for me this week. I am going to bet Cleveland on the spread, and I'm actually going to pick Cleveland to win this game in a shocking upset. Just a gut feel on this one. I wouldn't bet Cleveland as a money line because this is a risky proposition here, but I just have a feeling that the Browns are going to come out and just gush the Chiefs on the ground. I think that Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt in a revenge game just have huge days. I think Baker is pretty comfortable back there behind that offensive line. I think Odell Beckham has a big game. So I think the talent shows through. I did pick the Chiefs to beat the Browns come playoff time. But week 1 can be weird, and I'm going to take the Browns to get a surprising upset here. Although, as far as my play and what I would advise you to bet, it is the Browns on the spread getting 6 points. I think this should be maybe a 4-point spread. So we're going to go 33-30 in the game of the week there. A lot of great games this week, by the way. Green Bay at New Orleans, and it's, at in brackets there. This is going to be played, in Jacksonville or some neutral site away from New Orleans because of the hurricane. Not going to be that rocking home field advantage for New Orleans. It should be a pretty tame environment for Aaron Rodgers to use that hard count to neutralize a Saints pass rush that might be the one advantage they have right now over the Packers. So a rough break for New Orleans, who also has David Onyemata out, Michael Thomas out. Green Bay really should roll in this game, barring like Marcus Davenport's breakout starting week 1 against Elton Jenkins at left tackle. But 4.5 points is hefty. New Orleans is a tough team to predict. If Jameis is good, they can cover this spread, but I don't think they win this game. So I'm going to go 27-21 Green Bay Packers. Chicago at the LA Rams. Interesting spread here, 7.5 points. And the over-under was decently high there, 46.5 points. That's pretty average. I like the under in this game, but I really don't see a way in which the Bears win this game. I just think that pass rush with Aaron Donald is going to devastate the Chicago Bears. If you want one nice note there, it's that the Bears' interior offensive line isn't necessarily a problem. It's more of the tackles, and Aaron Donald is the only reason the Rams' pass rush is as good as it is. But that said, I still don't trust that offensive line to block Aaron Donald, and I think that defensively, the Rams dominate this game. That said, I think the Bears' defense is also really good, and I think they're going to be able to get after Matthew Stafford, make him uncomfortable. New scheme. I think he has a great season, but it can take a couple weeks to kind of get in stride and on the same page with his receivers. So I think this is a low-scoring game. I've got it 24-13 Rams. I don't really picture a way in which the Bears win this game, but I just don't know if betting 7.5 points for the Rams is a good play. But I do like the under if you want something to bet for that Sunday night game. Baltimore at Las Vegas to wrap up the week here. I think Baltimore rolls. I think this is Raiders defense in week 1 in this new system is not a team that's going to be prepared and equipped to handle Lamar Jackson. That's really what it comes down to. I think the Ravens have a ton of success. It's a team that's really hit the ground running quite literally and just blown teams out week 1. And I think that the Ravens defense is going to really get after that new offensive line for the Raiders and at times make Derek Carr uncomfortable. I'm going to take the Ravens to cover the spread. And those are the picks this week. I do have a bonus parlay to throw in here on the back end. I want to do one of these every week. Just, throw a little bet on it. Get nice 30-1 odds on it or whatever. I've got Tampa Bay money line. Feel very good about Tampa winning. San Francisco money line. Don't see them getting held up by Detroit. Jacksonville -3. I think that's a steal on the spread this week. Probably my favorite bet right there on its own. Green Bay, I don't think gets knocked off by New Orleans. And then I have Baltimore -4.5 to boost that parlay. And there is your bonus parlay and the week 1 picks. Good luck, everybody. Gamble responsibly if you are. Put money on these games. Also, if you want to get access to this video every week, it'll be on my Patreon with the star tier. Please do hit that like button if you enjoyed. Let me know your picks down below, and we'll see you next week for some more NFL content. Peace.